Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and we are happy to be here for another Speedle Sunday. And before anybody asks, why is this Gravekeepers? Why isn't this one of the recent requests? Simple. I was already testing this list like a couple weeks ago, so I want to make sure that all the lists that have been requested that we do end up featuring are up to par. Honestly, there would be nothing worse for me than to waste your time on it just by rushing one out. So that's the reason. So we won't get too worried about it. But today, another great update for the Speed Duel format is going to be a Gravekeeper build. And I know last time I used, I think it was Battle City Bestie as my main skill. And as we know, that has since gone down to the 2-ups, to tier 2 limits. So for today, I want to do something a little more control-y. And I'm going to lean into the Keeper the Valley's skill card. Once per duel, you can discard one card to add one spell trap that mentions Necro Valley from the graveyard to the hand, which is okay. And then you would apply the following skill. The graveyard is unaffected. Your graveyard is unaffected by Necro Valley. This does start the beginning of the duel face up. So we do have that whole graveyard unaffected by Necro Valley from the jump, which is kind of the cool thing here. And then once per duel, we're just sort of, since it is going from the graveyard to the hand, not the deck to the hand, we did add in something that will work for this, but it's not super necessary. Other cool things that you can do with this, we'll mention them at the end. I'm going to get you guys the monster count and main deck real quick. And it's very tech. I'm going the single copy of Assailant. I like the battle switch up while we have Valley. Being able to do that while, of course, being a brick house 2K by 2K is pretty good. The fact that I want to make sure that we always get to our Valley, we're going to go ahead and trip the Commandants. Again, it's a field spell searcher. Pitch this from hand, add one Necro Valley from the deck to the hand. Basically means we always have access to our valleys. Double Descendant, because Descendant is still a good card, great card. The way it works, you tribute one other face-up Gravekeeper monster, then target one card the opponent controls, destroy the target. Now, a couple things. It does say that it requires another card, which is 100% fine. Let's not even worry about that. But I do want to note, this is not a once per turn. So we can actually do this multiple times in a turn, and it is target one card. Could be front row, could be back row. So it is very versatile. We are going to tech in our single guard, again for the flip bounce, and we're going to double up on Recruiter. And Recruiter is one of those ones I kind of get the wording mixed up a little bit sometimes. If this card you control is sent to your graveyard. So again, field to grave. Add one Gravekeeper's monster with 1,500 or less defense from the deck to the hand. Which again, searches out everybody but two cards in this, I think, Commandant's 15. So again, it just means that we can't grab Spy and Guard this way. And since we've mentioned it, we are going to be running two copies of the Gravekeeper's Spy. So just like real quick, like the breakdown here is fairly simple. We want to get to having our field spell as soon as possible. So we've got 3 searchers in a format where we don't have terraforming. So that's fine. Those searchers also, because they're part of a set of monsters that search for field spells, and then they meet their stats at like 2,100. That's what we're going to be looking at for the power there. Again, the Assailant's going to be 2K. The Descendant's going to be 2K. The Recruiters are going to get up to 17. The Guard is more impressive with the defense stat. I mean, it's going to be 1,500 on the attack, but we're talking 2,400 defense. And Spy is going to be a sacky 17 by 25, since we're going to have access to our field spell and everything. Really, it's about getting the Recruiters, searching out the other pieces that you want. You can go easy with one Descendant. You can go easy with one Assailant, just because it's very easy to get the plays out. Moving over to the spells, we are going to play a single copy of the Hidden Temples of Necro Valley. Now, in another version of this deck, you might play more copies of this. You might put one in your side deck. This is our only card that Keeper of the Valley is going to allow us to recur. The way this works, activate only if you have a Gravekeeper monster in Valley on the field. Neither player can special summon monsters except Gravekeeper monsters. If either a Gravekeeper monster or Necro Valley is not on the field, destroy the card. So again, it does have a little bit of a drawback, but it does slow down things. And again, if we get to go first, we can set up. A lot of like the fusion decks really don't stand too much of a chance against this. So it is just a fun little tech. The other big thing that we changed here, since we're doing Keeper of the Valley, our graveyard is never affected by Necro Valley. So we were able to cut Chief out of the deck while maintaining the effect. So we can use our tier 2 limits to grab 2 copies of Monster Reborn. The reason we want to use the Monster Reborn is we fuel it real quick by being able to bring back multiple cards for our Descendant to go into a board wipe while having huge power. So again, if we can just get out a couple of cards off the opposing side of the field, we are looking at just attacking for game. This is a shorter format. Being able to just swing wide is very useful, especially if you could do something with the guard. Maybe you flipped up your spy to get into your Descendant, which allowed you to then tribute the spy, and then you Monster Reborn it and do it again. Or maybe there was a recruiter that had already gone, and we're going to use the recruiter to do that. There's a lot of interplay. We are going to go for our tier 1 limit. We are going to grab an MST. Again, it is just basic smacking cards around. Being able to get and break the back row before we fall into trap cards is useful. We are going to use 2 copies of Necro Valley, because again, this is our field spell, and I do feel like 5 cards out of a 22, I think this is 21 card deck. I'll tell you what, let me pause, I'll count it up real quick. It was 21 card deck. But being able to shut off the graveyards, again, Keeper of the Valley is going to keep our discard pile alive. It can be messed with. And again, this is a little bit of a double-edged sword. Cards like Haiku do exist in this format. But of course, Necro Valley is still going to go ahead and protect us from cards being banished. The opponent's not allowed to banish cards while Necro Valley is active. So we do end up with like a little bit of ebb and flow here. We're going to go ahead and rack into 3 copies Sol and Luna. Now, again, I want to just kind of go with this one. What we can do here is, again, with the spy, with the guard, with the fact that we have a double Monster Reborn and we can go ahead and bring them back whenever, we have this as this wonderful defensive option that sets us up for more plays in the next turn. Again, I did this with Relinquished. It was a great way to unequip so I could re-equip into another face-up card. Usually by tributing into a Kaiju, which is Dahlgren. And honestly, like, this works out just great too, because again, we can block the attacker. Go ahead, reset the guard, flip the guard, dispel the attacker. And again, if we end up playing up against something where we're doing a bit of a mirror match, we might have hit Waking the Dragon. And if we did, that card that we stopped from hitting us could have been Blue Eyes Ultimate. Like, it's good to know that we can dispel things like that and just keep playing. I did get to a 21st card. I am running a single Quaking Mirror Force right now. You guys can choose whatever you want here. And again, if you don't want to play the Hidden Temple, we can actually take this down to a 20 card deck, just as it is. I did find that there were some plays where it was more useful. I do think that there is a more tech build that can be built around the Hidden Temple strategy. I think this is just a really good example of a mid-range Gravekeeper build that's going to serve you well at your locals at your next card event. That said, the other interactions I was thinking about with the Keeper of the Valley are just simple. Like, you guys could reuse Stell if you're going to be doing anything that forces you to discard cards to do effects. You'd then be able to recur to Gravekeeper cards that way. Additionally, Rite of Spirit, not like technically a Gravekeeper card, but definitely it is. is a trap card that resurrects your Gravekeepers, regardless of Valley being on the field. And because it does mention Necro Valley in the text, you can like reuse them. So instead of me getting my Monster Reborn, which again, we're playing it because it's spell speed 1, I could do it on my own turn. And again, if I don't have Valley up, my opponent's discard pile is also up for grabs. So it is just a better card. Rite of Spirit is a more on-theme card. And the same reason that I use things like Lost Wind all the time. I'll be able to recur it in this deck, which is fantastic. So I get like 4 trap speed resurrections, which is cool. And then again, you could also parlay that into then using Sol and Luna when your opponent gets the battle replay because the amount of monsters on your side of the field has changed. So again, it's cool stuff. Real quick, go ahead and take the screen capture and or make your notes. Do whatever it is that you guys got to do. Give me a moment and I'll be back with the side deck and the extra deck in just a moment. All right, we are back. So I'm actually going to do this opposite. I'm just going to give you guys the feel-good extra deck first because this should be pretty basic by now. I love taking these 6 cards since they are just generically some of the best and utilizing them. You guys know I'm going to be using Waking the Dragon in order to get them. It's fine. Going into the sideboard this time, I am going to be running 2 copies Dahlgren and Mad Flame Kaiju because, again, we can move into defense mode with Assailant. We could destroy it with Descendant. We could bounce it with Guard, put it back in our hand, reuse it again later. There's like 100 reasons why we should play this dude. And then since Valley doesn't affect our own graveyard, we could just Monster Reborn it to our own side later. Like, it don't matter. It's fun. But this is just like my tech right here, you know? 2 copies Lost Wind because, again, you will find yourself going second in some games. Once you choose to go second or you're told to go second, you got to start worrying about whether or not your opponent's going to be able to board up big fusion monsters or big special summonable cards that could actually just like ruin your whole day. Being able to put those cards in half as well as robbing away their effects, it's just pretty straightforward and awesome. And same thing with Waking the Dragon. You guys knew I was going to be playing this. Other thoughts, I did notice like I didn't touch tier 3 limits this time. If we wanted to, like, Waking is slightly less of a priority. And Dahlgren's kind of cool, but just kind of a toss-in. What we could do is we could take the Lost Winds out because you might be playing a different play style than me. And we could take, like, the moment to touch the tier 3 limits. At which point we could be talking about, like, maybe 2 Cosmic Cyclones. Just for some additional back row punishing. Or we could take out 1 and 1 of, like, Lost Wind and Waking. Go down to a single Waking the Dragon. Do that right there, Cosmic Cyclones. And then you guys might choose one of the additional, like, cards that are on tier 3. And swap Dahlgren out. And just have a better, like, more spread out extra deck. Give yourself side deck. Give yourselves a little bit of extra space to have options. And just the variety might actually help you out better depending on your local area. That's it for today, though. I do hope that you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, consider supporting the channel, like, comment, sub. If you have made some requests, they're still on the way. Again, play testing takes time. And I don't want to disappoint you guys too much with decks that maybe didn't look like they were playtested at all. It would be an insult to the request. But that's coming. I did find something amazing. So I know I wanted to do a Morganite deck this week. I think I'm going to push it off. We got something just crazy for our draft. Celestial's going to have a bit of an announcement tomorrow, which is nice. We've got another Time Wizard build for the Android format for you guys, and plenty of more stuff coming in the near future. So, plenty to look forward to. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I just want you guys to have a great day. So go out there, be kind to others, and be kind to yourself. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Later.